And by the way, are there any Italians in the room? Okay. Well, we are protecting the legacy of Christopher Columbus, okay? You know, the Italians are tough. I love the Italians.
This is one way to support genocide from the former president, Donald Trump.
You know, when you look at our holidays, you realize, wow, some of them are really weird. And we celebrate the guy who discovered America, even though there was already, you know, millions of people living here for thousands of years. And, you know, he called them Indians because he thought he landed in India, but he up and landed in America. But they kept calling them Indians, and they pretty much slaughtered all the Indians. And we have a holiday celebrating that guy. So it's a little weird.
Comedian Judah Friedlander sees it very, very differently than the leader of the Republicans.
Some have both had the disease and the vaccine, but we should study that also, because we would want to know, is the vaccine more dangerous, or are you more likely to have serious side effects? And one dose may be enough, but also maybe 0 doses is enough.
Incredible messaging from this party.
You know, I asked the audience how you feel about the anti-vaccination people, and I say I don't think they're anti-science. I think they're just pro-diseases' rights, and you know, you have to look at that. You know, diseases are very discriminated against in the medical community,
and rightfully the comic sees it in his own hilarious spin.
Here's an idea, and it just said "Make America Great Again" in the hat. And they brought that sample to Donald Trump, and he said, I like it, but let's tweak this. Let's do it differently.
The hat itself, did we focus group the hat? No. It was really a coup, and it's one of those things you never know in a campaign that certainly just like clicked.
On the signature hat?
I think he's stolen from me a few times. You know, I mean, first of all, with the hats, you know.
Oh, that's true.
You know, with the hats, he's totally stolen, you know. And if you look at him, his hats are red and white. You know, last time I checked, this country is red, white, and blue. So to me, he seems like he's a secret, you know, pro-Canada president.
Friedlander says something sure to ruffle MAGA's feathers.
Researchers at the World Policy Analysis Center study the issue of paid family leave.
The question of why we don't have it is one that countries around the world are asking.
The United States is one of just 7 countries in the world without national paid maternity leave. 186 countries guarantee new mothers paid leave from work. The average paid time off, 31 weeks. 109 countries guarantee new fathers paid leave. The average time off is 29 weeks. And 181 countries guarantee paid sick leave, more than 2/3 providing 12 weeks or more.
The history here is really a history of lots of efforts just to get unpaid leave passed. And the problem has always been getting Congress to act. Americans across parties support paid leave.
Well, the world champion can explain this predicament.
In Europe and other countries, you know, many women get, 6 months or more paid leave after giving birth to a baby. Ours generally, women in this country generally get 0 days off after giving birth to a baby. And why is that? And that's because our women care about the economy. You know, in Europe and other countries, they don't. So the women here care more.
Shout out to Salon on YouTube. This entire interview is a must-watch.
Here we go.
A hidden, intricate web links hundreds of popular food brands to work done by U.S. prisoners. A 2-year Associated Press investigation found that everything from grains, meat, eggs, and milk had been grown, harvested, or produced by incarcerated people. And their labor finds its way into the supply chains of some of the most recognized brands and largest food companies in the world.
On the prison industrial complex and more.
Whole Foods is a great company. Yeah. Aren't they? Just always giving those prisoners jobs like that, you know? All these companies are so fake, I think, these big corporations, you know? Nike giving those, you know, little kids jobs in other countries. You know, acting woke, you know, supporting Kaepernick. Yeah. Yet Nike still makes all of the Washington Redskins uniforms. So, so much for their racial equality.
Friedlander chides the ultra-wealthy.
Doesn't matter what he does, I'm going to vote for him.
It really doesn't matter what he does.
Doesn't matter what he does, and I assume a lot of this crowd can agree with me as well.
Well, what if he had a political opponent killed, like his lawyer said, that he would be immune from?
Voting for Trump.
Still voting for Trump, even if he had a political opponent killed?
I'll make it clear for you. I don't care what he does. I'm voting for Trump. And I think majority of this line is too.
Even if he had a political opponent killed?
Absolutely. Doesn't matter. I'm voting for Trump.
Well, there you have it.
On the voting blocks of America.
People say certain people vote against their best interests.
I disagree with that. I think there's like two main power structures in the country. There's the white male supremacy power structure, and then there's the corporate supremacy power structure. When people are making fun of, let's say someone's white, low income, and racist. Let's just say, I'm not saying all people are. A lot are not. But let's say a person is. And then they get made fun of for not voting for the Affordable Health Care Act or some other things that are just going to, if they're voting Republican, they're just going to sort of enrich the rich. But if you're someone who's a bigot and a racist, and you know that candidate running is a bigot and a racist, you're voting in your best interest.
Friedlander's just preaching here.
We're always taught that we're the best at everything. And then when you learn that, and then when you believe that, and then there's actually problems going on, it gets people to sort of not look at, if you're taught we're number one, well, it can't be us. It must be somebody else. And then bad politicians will basically tell people, oh, it's those immigrants over there. That's what's messing things up.
Called his shot here as well.
It's crazy what's going on. They're ruining our country. And it's true. They're destroying the blood of our country. That's what they're doing. They're destroying our country. They don't like it when I said that. And I never read Mein Kampf. They said, oh, Hitler said that in a much different way. No, they're coming from all over the world, people all over the world. We have no idea. They could be healthy, they could be very unhealthy, they could bring in disease that's going to catch on in our country, but they do bring in crime.
America is the greatest country on earth.
Friedlander's take on this?
So it's interesting that everyone since they're a child has been fed this idea that we're the greatest, and we're not just individually the greatest. As a country, we have the greatest laws and system that can make anybody, if they just work hard, be rich and famous. And so when it doesn't start happening to people, they get really frustrated. It's like finding out Santa Claus isn't real, So some people, they don't know how to handle it, and they go in different directions of what they think will make them feel better, whether it's wherever they're looking.
We rank number one in education freedom. We are number one in economic freedom.
The buzzwords, how powerful they are, right?
When we say that we stand for freedom and liberty, that means other countries don't, because that's not in their slogan.
Right.
Most countries don't even have slogans. All our cities have slogans. In my stand-up act, I ask other people from other countries and cities in other countries, what's your slogan? They're like, we don't really have one. We all have one. We sell stuff. You're right. We market more than anybody.
You broke the contract when you killed us in the streets and didn't give a f***. You broke the contract when for 400 years we played your game and built your wealth. You broke the contract when we built our wealth again on our own by our bootstraps in Tulsa, and you dropped bombs on us. When we built it in Rosewood and you came in and you slaughtered us. You broke the contract, so f*** your target. F*** your Hall of Fame. As far as I'm concerned, they could burn this bitch to the ground. And it still wouldn't be enough. And they are lucky that what black people are looking for is equality and not revenge.
Remember this scathing, passionate, spot-on rant by activist Kimberly Jones? This is exactly it.
I mean, I don't like Trump at all. I think he's a very dangerous president. But it's, if you just think, oh, we get rid of Trump and everything will be fine again, I think that's a mistake. Trump did not invent mass incarceration. He didn't invent the Atlantic slave trade. He didn't invent no health care for people. He didn't invite endless wars. So I criticized, the whole system.
It's the system. It's always been the system and will always be the system unless there is revolutionary change.
I feel very sorry for any country that doesn't have oil, because they will never know what it's like to have us liberate them. Feel bad for them.
All right, I got some thoughts here. But first things first, if you can, please do become a channel member at youtube.com/TYT Sports. Click the join button on our homepage or go to tyt.com/join. If you'd like to support me on my socials, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As I ended this, I said it's always been the system. And unless there is change, we will continue to muddy ourselves thinking that, voting one way is going to completely reshape in this current two-party system, because it won't. And we are even seeing the struggle within the Democratic Party that people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar and Bernie Sanders and others who are, thought of as progressive will sometimes screw over the workers, or they will break from others within their own party because they don't have the same corporate interests as those who donate to others in their party. And yet what he's talking about here is stuff that European countries have: healthcare, paid family leave. So when he says, I don't like Trump at all, he's dangerous, but thinking we have to get rid of him when he didn't invent mass incarceration, he didn't invent the Atlantic slave trade, didn't invent no healthcare for people, didn't invent endless wars, he is certainly promoting everything that is against those things or for those things because of his rhetoric and the policies he puts in place. But it is accurate to say, and look, many have seen our work on this, we despise him. But there are many other presidents who could have at least tried their best in having us, the richest country, not have healthcare, having the worst mass incarceration, having what is deemed as, per many, slave labor inside prisons that is enabled by the 13th Amendment. It has been water carrying over the years, from Congress to the Senate to each and every president. It is the same interests over and over again. Yeah, there could be some differing here and there on policies that certainly help people, but in the grand scheme of things, it is not going to get to that point until we recognize, come together as a cohesive working class unit and see the divide, that it is just that, working class against those who have, like the DeVosses, who have billions upon billions of dollars and view us as a number for profit so they could get another yacht.